Today at Let's Talk Marketplace, we talked about
the marketplace of MediaMarktSaturn. This platform has been pushing heavily for internationalization and for assortment expansion in the last 2 years, and for bold ambitions.
Vice President and Marketplace CEO at MediaMarktSaturn, Christian Kollesch, tells us why MMS is growing so fast at the moment and why the platform is attractive not only for electronic brands.
Have fun listening.
Let's Talk Marketplace.
The Marketplace podcast with Ingrid Lommer and Valerie Dichtel.
Right, welcome back everyone. It's time to talk about marketplaces once again. So great you're back with us. And today we want to dive deep into, I would say, one of the most active and ambitious platform players of Europe at the moment, and that is MediaMarktSaturn.
Yeah, indeed. There's a lot going on over there at the moment. The marketplace recently expanded to Belgium and Poland, and they are also pushing for more marketplaces in Hungary and Turkey. And at our last Marketplace Universe Connect event in Cologne we had a few weeks ago, we heard that MMS is aiming for the crown for the biggest retailer of refurbished electronics soon.
Yeah, that was some big words actually. So you were in the middle of the crowd that evening when that was being said in my Impulse interview. So I didn't hear what people say. How did they react to that?
Well, they were, I would say, in a positive way surprised.
Okay.
And I mean, they were like quite bold words, Christian. So
True.
I think you already did a good start. And the speaker we also had there was also like supporting the statement. So
yeah,
I
Thomas
think,
Hock, which was a retailer from
yeah.
Nisatec, and he was quite supportive of that. That was a cool interview. Yeah, I guess we will go for that topic later on as well. But first, let's welcome our guest, and that is Christian Kollesch, Vice President and CEO Marketplace at MediaMarktSaturn. And that was the question with the great bold words. Hi, Christian.
Hi, guys. Hope you're fine.
Yeah, doing fine.
Amazing. Very much looking forward to today.
Good.
Yeah, a warm welcome from me as well, Christian. Great to have you here. How was your experience at our Connect event for you?
It was really good. I really need to admit, it was surprisingly connective. So basically, it was really good in terms of having all the people around, getting also a perspective from external, clearly also from our sellers. I really like that. And I need to admit, you did a really great job on that. And I feel very comfortable. And I also had the feeling that the people are really understanding what we do with the marketplace within MediaMarktSaturn, and that they are taking it also seriously, and that they are also positively surprised of topics which they did not expect from MediaMarkt to go in terms of direction. And I think potentially also a lot of people are thinking, do they do it and do they really make it successfully? Which I completely understand because it's a tough way. But I also had the feeling that the people are really starting to believing in what we want to do in the future, and that they are admitting also the successes we had so far with that new direction we are going.
Yeah.
So in general, a very good meeting.
Thank you so
And
much.
events.
We also enjoyed it a lot, and actually we had also got quite a good feedback, like from participants who have been there already again, and then also from new ones. They were like, "Oh, that was really nice," and networking and connecting, and But before we dive deeper into your topics, Christian, what MediaMarktSaturn Marketplace is planning at the moment and how our listeners can profit from that, let's first introduce you a little more in detail. So I have like 3 questions for you, but the first one is like, who are you? A very short one.
All good. So hi, again, I'm Christian. I'm the CEO and the Vice President of the Marketplace at MediaMarktSaturn. I'm originally an energy engineer and spent many years working for companies like E.ON or RWE. About 2 years ago, I made the leap into the e-commerce business. And what can I say? I mean, in general, I really like that business because it's very fast and you can really do something every day which have an impact. If we are comparing it to the energy sector, which is very long project-wise complex topics which you need to solve. And I think generally e-commerce is not complex. It's pure data-driven business, and that is something that I really love. So in general, I'm very passionate about building something that truly serves people in my complete life until today, in every direction, everywhere where I have been so far, and which has strategic relevance for the company and also for the customer, as this is the center for everything, and creating something really meaningful for the future of our next generation, but also for the value of partners and customers in general. So basically that is me in general since the beginning, also in the other companies. And I have a 18-month-old son, very nice one, keep me motivated every day, and a very lovely wife. So basically I'm married, coming from Duisburg. It's a very great town. I'm always saying that. Obviously not, ironically. And that's me in a nutshell.
Thank you so much. And what do you do best in the marketplace business, Christian? Because I mean, also like telling us like e-commerce is not very complex is also quite bold words.
Not a bold statement.
So you're definitely a guy of like bold statements, I would say. But what do you do best in the marketplace business?
I keep up the simplicity, and that is for me one very big thing. We as people are also aiming, and very often aiming as a retailer, for example, now for MediaMarktSaturn and also in the other branches, to keep things complex, and to aim for the perfect world. But in general, you need to say, guys, it's a really test and adjust world. Everything is a hypothesis, and that is why I'm saying it. It's simple. To build hypothesis, everything goes to be very complex. But if you go into the direction of keeping up and saying, hey, I have an online shop, I have a web shop, I can test things out, I can learn from data, and I can then make a clear decision if I want to kill something or I want to scale something is coming out of that. That is why I'm saying it's a very simple model. To change a price or to make a product more visible in a web shop is simple. To learn from the data then in the end and to adjust our approach based on that data. That is something what we should keep up as e-commerce in every kind of business where I'm saying. And that is why I always say, and why it's also so bold, it's a very complex model in general to build a platform. But it's a very simple model then to optimize that. And that is why I'm saying I really strongly believe within MediaMarktSaturn in the last 2 years, we exactly attacked that thing, and to get out of the world of building hypotheses and making things complex to let's go into the direction of a test-adjust approach and learn from the data and the customers directly.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we should introduce Christian to Pinky. You remember that episode? Because there was a similar way of thinking. We recently had Pinky Chaudhry on the show, who is the mastermind behind the marketplaces of B&Q and Conforama and so on. And she was going in a similar directions. Like, it's not that hard, just test and learn and listen to your sellers. I think this is what her main directive was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Christian, last question. Tell us a fun fact about you.
It's not quite a fun fact. Let me think about a fun fact.
Can also be a private one.
Yeah, okay, a private one I have. So I think it's important that the people know that. My first online sale was an iPod Shuffle back in 2005 on eBay. And I think since then, I've been locked into the commerce business. And that is something what I really like. So basically the fun fact is I started already very early, where I've not been even 18 years old, to create something and build out on something which was pretty new to the German generation, let me say it like this. And there I also found a little bit my love to sail.
Okay,
nice.
So, and then you lost your way and went for energy stuff, and now you're back with e-commerce.
I think, yes, it's true. But I also there, just to get a little bit deep side and or a little bit insights also on that point, it was never going to be just engineering. I was yes, I'm an engineer, but respectively in that area, I built up new commercial models, which I sold to real people. And that was something what I always was motivating to create something which is valuable for the people. And it was always the same situation, going back into a test-adjust approach, building something, obviously with the power of backing of a big company, which was really great, and then selling that, testing that, if this is valuable. And when I saw it's valuable, then I obviously tried to scale it very fast, also in that businesses. That's why I'm saying, yes, back in e-commerce, but obviously selling was something which I really liked also there.
Right. So then let's see if you can sell our listeners the idea of MediaMarktSaturn Marketplace. So I would say now that we know you better, we can go and dive deeper into what you're doing there. And I think let's start out with a question that I actually heard at our event as well. And I also placed that to you in our Impulse interview, because there has been the MediaMarkt Marketplace is around for more than 5 years. I'm not sure, 2018 or something that you started out in the beginning. But just over last year or the last 2 years, there was a major strategic shift. So can you explain a bit more what this is about and why the MediaMarktSaturn Marketplace now might be a bit different from what people have experienced 5 years ago?
Yes. So originally we started with the Marketplace 2020 in Germany, and you are absolutely right. We were, let me say, doing it a little bit aside. Yeah, it was a side project, right, in the beginning, because it was not clear what we want to do as a company, generally speaking, with MediaMarktSaturn. Yeah? So what should be the new direction, and what is the marketplace then doing in that direction? Yeah? What kind of role does it play? And I think in 2023 we completely realigned our marketplace strategy. So as I mentioned previously, the marketplace was more a side project. Today, it's a core pillar of our omnichannel approach and a core growth pillar. Why is it so? Yeah? We changed significantly the direction of the marketplace should be the perfect environment of complementary and curative portfolio enlargement, yeah, in our CE core. That was one thing which was really important, and obviously that takes quite a lot of power and energy with the retail team. Yeah? And it's for every retailer who wants to create a marketplace. Yeah? I think one major topic which you need to address is how do you align with the retail team? How is the perfect modus? What kind of transparency is needed for them so that they are getting it, that it's not competition, but it's complementary. Yeah, and that we are winning the customer, not losing it. And I think there was in 2023 a major mindset change also in retail when we started very transparently talking about how do we enlarge a category. Where are we standing today with our core portfolio in retail, also in omnichannel? Where do we see customer demand which we are currently not addressing? Yeah? And so on and so far. So basically we really mean and build together a complementary marketplace in the CE core segmentation and categories, which we did not do before. Yeah? And I think that broke a little bit the ice. Yeah? And in that kind of business, when we are doing it like this, we really build up something strong together, and we build up our road together and also vision together. Yeah? And that, by the way, was built up directly when it started to get scalable in Germany. We exactly enlarged it in all the countries, and it has a really big momentum and impact in all the countries when we really shifted the modus operandi how we interact together. So today we are now focusing really on curation together in the assortment and a very close collaboration with the sellers, yeah, where of retail is not in charge of, but they are bringing, for example, big vendors on the platform like Samsung, yeah, or Kircher. And I mean, we are also doing a lot of technology improvements for our sellers in general, because, and also when I say seller, we also have our own e-commerce business, for example, online. We have our stores online. Yeah, so just recently for refurbished goods, for example, for the returns. And, you know, we are building something our way together, so in front of the customer to grow in certain areas. And we are also taking the marketplace as an opportunity to test things out, to seek into new categories. Yeah? For example, as I also said in the event where we have been, enlarging the assortment also in categories where where MediaMarktSaturn has never been in. For example, in do-it-yourself or baby and kids, pet care,
I'm
technology.
going to interrupt you here, Christian, because let's talk about those in a bit more detail a bit later. But
yes, of
before
course.
we go into those, let's first, because you've been talking about that strategic shift, and I remember that some 2 years ago you also started coming up with the bold statements. Actually, that was around 2 years ago, and I remember that I read a press release where you said, okay, we're going to, I think, triple our GMV in marketplace in in just a year. And I remember distinctly that I said to Valerie, because we covered that on the show, like, yeah, let's see. I don't believe
That's true.
that.
I remember this.
I don't believe that. And I had to eat my words a year later. Like, basically had to eat my words because you managed it. So maybe walk us through a few numbers that you can share. So where's the marketplace at the moment? Can you give us some info about GMV, about sellers, about assortment?
Yes. So basically, currently we have more than 1,700 active seller online, and we have more than 2.3 million SKUs in all the countries, respectively, actively online. So we heavily grew since the last years, since 2023, also in that kind of perspective. And I think GMV-wise, we are currently at the state where we have been significantly growing again, comparing it to the last year. I cannot say any numbers now, but you saw it, for example, last year where we came out 2022, 2023 at 65 million, and whereof we are now at approximately 277 million last year, which is tripling, as you said. But it's also very important that it's all after refunds. So every return, every cancellation is already admitted into that number. It's not like a number like Allegro where we're just saying GMV in total. It's very clear that is the thing what really stays within us. And that is the current situation. I can just say that this year is continuing with that growth rate, without saying any number. But I'm very happy to see that. So on the topic which we are talking about later, you see that we are growing heavily. And that's something good. So basically also here the strategy takes place. All the things where we admire and also look at are coming. And that's a good thing.
Come back to the number of sellers there. I know you can't share any details here, but is the number there also growing? Because, I mean, if you are a seller and you look at the GMV of a marketplace and you say, that looks good, it's growing, but if the number of sellers is growing at the same time, then basically what each seller earns stays at the same level. So what is that, the development there?
So let me say it like this. So yes, we are growing in seller base, but we are also very harsh on the quality regulations which we embedded there. So basically, obviously, you have always people where we are suspending sellers due to the fact of incident rate, to high refund rates, not a good quality in service, etc. Therefore, you are saying obviously there's like sellers moving away, new sellers are coming up, but in general we are growing. So it's more than 35% where we are growing in the sales in seller base, which is also good because also 2 years ago. We did quite a significant change in the quality management in our environment because it was not anymore just quantity in terms of seller, it was also quality, which takes place. And also in terms of that, we grew with that quality and we were very strict in the seller performance when we said it's not about quantity anymore and your current situation is not the best one on the platform. So we are always giving them the chance to get better. But if we don't see that they are getting better, they are off.
And Christian, talking about sellers, how is your price model for sellers? So in terms of like commissions, etc.
I think it's not only competitive, it's very good in general. You see it also, and you heard it on the event. And Refurbished, we are by far one of the best in the complete market. And I think in general, we are very competitive. Obviously, we have some categories where we already are, as MediaMarktSaturn in retail, based on the GfK data, for example, the biggest by far in the complete market. So obviously there we have a higher commission than, for example, Amazon or Otto or Allegro or Bol. But nevertheless, we see that a lot of sellers are still joining, and I mean really still joining by getting the opportunity to have the best possible traffic on their products. Nevertheless, it's also very important that we are keeping in mind we are not a full competition marketplace. So it's very important also for the sellers. And in the beginning, obviously, they are then saying, hey, but I have so many great AAA products, for example, in MDA from Bosch Siemens or something like that. And it's not selling as good as, for example, on Amazon. But exactly that is the fact which we are also very honest about, due to the fact that we are not competing against our retail business, which is normal. We are obviously not pushing that kind of products then in front of the customer so far, even though if it has the best price or better price than our retail product in core. That is our normal logic. And I think the sellers who are then online, in the beginning it's a little bit tough because they do not know that, But then I think over a certain period of time, which takes like 2 to 3 weeks, they understand it, And then they are putting their focus also on other products, which are having also big numbers of traffic, and then obviously putting the volumina behind that. So basically, it's a little bit different from the normal platforms which are existing.
And speaking about other like advantages for sellers, I mean, you said like there's like a variance of like different commission percentages. What other advantages do I have? Talking also about your brick and mortar stores.
So basically, I think what we embedded in the last year was the topic of space as a service. As I said in the beginning, we want to be an omni-channel service and data platform. That is our goal. So as MediaMarktSaturn, getting away from being a pure retailer. And what we did was, obviously, we have a lot of stores. It's a unique selling point for us. I mean, OBI and etc. PP has it too. But for CE, that is something new. And we have a lot of pure online players as sellers in our, obviously, marketplace environment. And what we started with is to give them also the perspective of getting a renting space into our stores where they can promote their articles and sell them. And I think it's very important that you understand, and also the sellers, that they have the opportunity on the right side, but they have also on the left side the great thing that they are capable for the first time ever as a pure online player to get offline traffic. And I mean, we have a lot of offline traffic in core stores, which is by far more than 1 million, for example, people going and moving into the Lighthouse stores in Hamburg. So basically, that is a big opportunity also for them, especially for very, let me say, qualitatively highly products. We just launched a partnership with Peloton, where the people want, before buying something for 1,500, 2,000 euros, which they never had before, and they do not know what the quality is and what does that thing bring me as a value driver, to get into the store and test it out. And I think that is something which we are giving the possibility to the customers, and we are seeing it in every country where we are currently doing and acting as marketplace, where we also embed that thing as space as a service. It's quite successful. A lot of sellers want that. A lot of people want that. They want to test it out. And that's great. The only thing is also very important here. It's always complement their portfolio. So I would never, and that's also a thing, we would never give a seller who is doing then the same washing machine again to show in a marketplace in the respective store where we have it also in retail. Doesn't make sense. Also for the customer, it doesn't make sense. So we are looking then obviously into the categories which we do not own, which we do not have, and putting that in the stores. For example, also Teufel. We are not having that brand, and we are having that now in 5 stores, for example. That's good.
If we go for these white spots in the assortment, so to speak, so because this is the value driver for marketplace sellers, if I understand you correctly, do you have any help for sellers to choose the right categories for them? So do you assist them in putting the right assortment on your marketplace, which will then work really well?
So, in generally, I think that is also a unique selling point which we currently have as MediaMarkt. We are having a very strong account management team, taking care of the respective sellers directly, and talking quite a lot with them. And obviously, we are sharing quite a lot of data with them from our perspective. And thereof, we are also always giving them recommendation that on recent categories and products, there's so much traffic, and potentially, if they have that product already online, they should think about, if they really want to make use of the traffic, potentially they should take a look into the environment of the price in the market. For example, if another seller is more important or stronger on Amazon or etc. pp, where there's also a lot of traffic, he can win on our side if he's possible to adjust that. If not, then it's not. But nevertheless, I think it's important that the sellers are also getting the feeling that we are really taking care of them, wanting them to scale, and not just talking about that, but really wanting them to be successful. Because in the end, it's a very win-win-win situation for everyone. It's a win situation for the seller, it's a win situation for the customer, and obviously also for us, and also for the possibility of really making something out of the traffic. So let me say it as follow. I think we are very on the seller in every kind of term, also in terms of data sharing, and we really want them to be successful.
Just to stress that, so you are sharing first-party data with your sellers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is just a statement that
Yes,
I think
yes.
should be enhanced because this
No, all good,
it's not
all
the
good.
case for any other marketplace.
Yes,
or for
but
many others.
it's important that you understand, yes, but obviously in a certain range, and is currently not automatically given by the seller. So basically he has not everything in a table, or let me say in a dashboard, so that he can manage everything automatically by his own. That is a topic which we do not have so far. We are seeking for that, as for example Kaufland is doing with the price dynamic tool, etc. pp. So that they have more possibilities. Nevertheless, we are really trying to get a database-driven business out of there, and everything what we are allowed to share, and everything what we really can do so far, we are trying also to get in the account management team, then covered and mirrored with the seller.
Let's talk a bit what you already touched before, the new categories that you have opened, the new verticals for the marketplace. Because, of course, I mean, if a brand like Teufel loudspeakers is selling on the marketplace, that sort of fits, because even if you didn't have it in your retail, it's still clearly electronics. But now you also offer possibilities for sellers for DIY or for garden or for toys. Why did you do that?
So, I mean, in general, it's expanding into new verticals was a natural step for us. Today, customers expect a broad, relevant assortment that goes far beyond the traditional CE core and consumer electronics. And that includes also refurbished products. It's including accessories, services, and other complementary items, which are then potentially being attached to the CE core, or which is very close to CE core. And, do it yourself, it has a plug or it has a battery. Or, for example, cutting machines for gardening. Same, plug or battery. And obviously, when we see that the people also SEO optimized, searching for that respectively in Google and searching potentially also that in our own search, why should we not cover that? And I think that is something what was the reason. And as I mentioned before, the marketplace is the perfect environment for that, for every player in the market, because you cannot lose. I mean, in general, you can test it out. You can put a lot of effort into product environment, scalability of product portfolio also. And then you are managing to boost that via social commerce activities or via really channel-focused activities in advertising. And then you can see if over a certain period of time that category is growing and therefore also traffic, or it's not growing. And again, if it's not growing, then obviously you can kill it, without losing anything, because it's not even a loss for a customer or it's a seller, because the seller, for example, also tested out. We tested out with everything what we do, and if we don't see success, nobody wins. And that is, for example, it's a very good advantage of a marketplace to have that in a company like that, to test things out and to optimize that also. The long tail business also in terms of that, or let me say the long strategy business out of that, is if we see that respective products in respective categories are moving and working very good, then it's also always an opportunity that, for example, that we take it in retail, also from a seller, over a certain period of time. And that is obviously then a hard thing, because then you are getting out of nothing 500 million, for example, because we are purchasing quite a lot to also fulfill the demand. And I think that is exactly how we manage the marketplace in generally, when I talked also in the beginning about changing the modus, shifting from left to right, exactly also from right to left. And that is something, let me say, why we are doing also the new verticals in generally, to optimize really the portfolio, but also to be more customer centricity in every kind of thing what we want to do. And also locking in the customer within MediaMarktSaturn and not letting him churn anywhere else. Why should he do it if he already started his search within our channel?
But aren't you afraid that you might water down your brand? Because MediaMarktSaturn is a very strong retail brand focused on electronics or connected with electronics. So what does it do to a customer if they now realize they can buy, I don't know, their Legos or their bath accessories or whatever also on MediaMarkt? Is that a damage to your brand?
No, absolutely not. So basically we are really focused. So as I mentioned before, firstly, obviously our strategy changed. That what we had been is also changing. So we want to be an omnichannel service platform. And if we want to do that, it's not enough to be only CE. Otherwise, I would put CE also into that. And I mean, in general, our strategy changed quite a lot on that part. And as of today, as I mentioned, we want to stretch our brand. We want to seek into new areas where we do not succeeded so far. And obviously we are not becoming a generalist, but we want to be like CE and CE close. That's our, let me say, current strategy where we are focusing on. And that is not a hurting brand, I think, and we are all seeing that. It's a win situation for us because we are winning new customers, we are succeeding in that kind of areas. And I think if they love it, we love it, and we are not losing anything. We are just winning.
And if I'm a brand, if I want to sell on marketplace business via MediaMarktSaturn right now, how do I do this? Like, do I write you an email? How do I get, like, do I need a brand approval? And how is the onboarding process?
So you don't need a brand approval, firstly. Secondly, you can reach out, or we are reaching out. So we have an cold acquisition team, and they are reaching out to quite a lot of sellers. If they have regulative, let me say, filling out the regulations of quality guardrails. So they are looking for example, Trusted Pilot, Trusted Shop, Amazon, Otto, long sellers who are there having a good star rating or having a good, let me say, also review rating.
But if I'm not on your, if you haven't reached out to me yet, so how do I contact you, or how do I get in contact with you?
Yes. So basically, we have an email address, which is then naturally service@MediaMarktSaturn.com, or even you can reach out to me. It's also not a problem, but it's officially also on our website where you can reach out. You will find it in the present.
To the show notes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So obviously I can share that afterwards so that you can share it in the team. Nevertheless, we have everything on our webpage that the people are knowing where to reach out, also number-wise, or even if it is an email, and we are then calling you back automatically, or the other way around, which I said, cold acquisition. I think that is the thing. And becoming a seller on our marketplace is quite straightforward, I would say. You are registered if you are already a known seller in the other platform. You are just registering via our seller portal. We are using Miracle, for example. Complete a short onboarding and quality check with the acquisition team. They are then guiding you through all the things and also the commissions, and then you are ready to go. It's, as I mentioned, the fastest one was in 5 days online. The worst one was 3 months. So just that you know also what the kind of thing
which
is.
is quite fast,
Exactly. And that is a very simple and easy way.
And in terms of logistics, do I have to do dropshipment, or is there any logistical service yet or anything planned?
So currently it's not planned. So it's not that we have fulfillment by MediaMarktSaturn. And also I can also tell you why. We had thought about that 1 year ago, and we did like a big, let me say, request to all the sellers we have, asking them what they think about that, if we would do that as a service. And I need to say, 90%
we
didn't
have it
like
already.
that. They are saying, I have my own, I'm happy with that, what I have. And if they say so.
Now, why should you do this?
Exactly.
Totally fair. Yeah.
And that's the current situation. I'm listening to them. Otherwise, I would fall back to this, hey, I create a hypothesis, and this hypothesis should be done, and everyone should follow my way.
Yeah.
That should not be the case. I'm not a fan of that.
That's actually true.
I'd like to come back to one topic that you touched earlier upon, which is quality of sellers, because you just said it's relatively easy and straightforward to get onboarded, but still you were stressing how important it is for you to have high quality sellers, high quality products, high quality customer service. So what are the KPIs here that you're looking when you go for seller performance?
So in generally, before we even adding a seller, as I mentioned, we use quite a lot of, let me say, websites, comparison websites like Trusted Pilot, Trusted Shops, Amazon Otto, for example, but also Bo, Allegro, big platforms where we have a lot of sellers. The next step is always to see what kind of reviews they have. They need to have a minimum star rating of 4, for example, on that platforms. And they need to be online more than 1 year, for example, just to you understand how the cold acquisition team is working. And that is how we are managing to try to have the right sellers and the right quality from the beginning on online. That's the first one. And the next one is, if you are already online, then it's important that you have let me say, we have KPIs like incident rate, refund rate, star rating, incident rate, again. And we are tracking that every day. And if, for example, if you see that it's 10 times the same problem for one seller, And for example, that he is online saying you are able to receive your product which you are now buying as a customer in 1 to 2 days. And in the end, it's 2 weeks. Yeah. And that takes like 5 times. Yeah. Then it's a discussion directly. Yeah. Because in the end, it's not about the seller that I don't want that he's growing, but I see that our customers are getting frustrated, that our platform and our brand gets hurt. Yeah, because we are receiving the customer feedback directly. Obviously, then the seller is also getting hurt, because then the impact is negative on his kind of way, and that is the reason why I'm saying we are quite looking into that. But before we are suspending the seller directly, we are saying to them, hey guys, we are reaching out to them and saying exactly that is your problem. You need to come back in the next 24 hours with an action plan. And if he's able to do that, then we are also seeing that he's taking it seriously, that he wants to optimize how he's fulfilling. If we do not receive that, then it's suspension, because then we have a quality issue. And the quality issue is not handled as accurate as we wanted that. And therefore we cannot, it's not allowed that we are making like a damage on our brand, a damage for a customer, because this is not the reason to have a platform.
It's a customer focus as well.
Exactly.
Okay, so we now have our last question, Christian. And you also said in the beginning a very bold words about being the number 1 retailer or marketplace for refurbished products in Europe. Can you tell us a bit more about that? Like, what have you done so far to get there, and what are your plans?
So, yes, it's a bold statement, but I really mean that, because, it's our nature to be CE. That's the first one. Everyone knows us in CE core, and that is obviously one, let me say, a natural thing to optimize our portfolio with a CE core product range, which we do not have so far. First one. Second one, what we embedded is we created a new user experience. I think it was quite unique. Kaufland now did it the same. So basically, I think they see it and they like it very much. And that was that we put different kind of gradings and the refurbished product portfolio into the PDP of a new product. So basically, we have one PDP of an iPhone, for example, and then you are finding directly below, you have also the 3 options which you can purchase now. So that was the first thing. The second thing, what we are now doing is from July on, I strongly believe in that, we will have the possibility to use all external channels, which we did not so far, due to the fact of if you put something in one PDP, you had only been able to provide one URL in Google Shopping, for example, of the new product. From tomorrow on, we will be able to promote both products. The one URL of the new product and the URL of the respective excellent, very good and good grading product. In terms of promotions, in terms of Google Shopping, in terms of advertising, social commerce activities everywhere. And that is something what will be a big game changer. As you know, for example, Backmarket Refurbed, they're doing quite a lot of money with that kind of using their channels, where a lot of people are also searching for. And that is something what will significantly change how we are growing. And the third one was, it's all about volumina. It's all about product portfolio and variation. And thereof, I can again say, we are adding now all our stores with all our returns, basically in that thing, refurbishing them and also putting them on the platform. That is already giving us a significant boost in comparison to all the other players, because they do not have that kind of business in that kind of range. Just take Refurbed as a third-party platform. They are depending on every third-party seller. And we have the combination of both. So we have firstly the third-party sellers and we have our retail. Now combining that will give us a complete different kind of portfolio and volumina, which we can address to the customer. So in general, again, we are now putting together 2 worlds to really take it serious to become the number 1. And we are going to invest heavily in all the channels we have to make us the number 1 in visibility also in front of the customer in all the channels who are existing. And I think that will be also disturbing for the market. I'm really looking forward to that. And if I say that, I really mean that.
That is going to be a huge topic, and I'm really interested to see your road that you are going for. Because this is also a topic quite dear to me, and I think absolutely one of the future pillars of e-commerce everywhere. Right. So, Christian, thank you very much. Our time is up, but I think we have learned a lot about the MediaMarktSaturn marketplace. And as Valerie said, we will link a contact for you in the show notes if you are interested or want to get more information on that. So, thanks for your insights, Christian. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, so thanks for listening. If you want to tune in again next week, then Valerie and I will be looking at the news of June. Lots of things happening again that month. And we'd be happy if you joined us again on, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever, just, the deal. Just follow and like and comment.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And bye-bye.
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 You listen to Let's Talk Marketplace,
the Marketplace podcast with Ingrid Lommer and Valerie Dichtel.